Iowa Clemson is going to be a grinder. What it's going to take for Iowa to pull off the win and move on to the round of the 32 for the first time in half decade.
You are Locked On Hawkeyes, your daily podcast on the Iowa Hawkeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm Trent Condon. Have your cake and drink it too. Birthday cake flavor is back. No fork needed. Vanilla cake flavor, caffeinated kick, and no sugar. It's party time. Order now at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. Today, we are going to break down the pressure facing the Iowa women as they open up the NCAA tournament as the number 2 seed, the top-ranked number 2 seed, and the pressure on this team that has a lot of new faces and different looks certainly this season. What is success for the Iowa wrestling program as they go to NCAAs, knowing that this is Penn State's tournament, obviously to lose? Is it a top 3 finish, a top 5 finish? We will dissect the Iowa wrestling squad. We'll also be joined by Tom Kakert from HawkeyeReport.com and get his perspective as he gets ready to head to Tampa and cover the Hawkeyes in their opening round matchup against Clemson. That's where we begin today's program with a look at the matchup against the Tigers in the 8-9 game. Now, we talked about it as the bracket was revealed on Sunday night, and take a look at the matchup against Clemson, a team that Iowa is, though the number 9 seed, certainly favored in. And myself as a gambler, that does make me a little bit nervous that there is so much public sentiment currently on the Hawkeye side of things. Definitely one of those things that I don't love to see as somebody who likes to go a little contrarian, go against the grain and go against certainly what the betting public is. And currently the betting public is all over the Hawkeyes. But let's get into the matchup here and really dig into what it's going to take for Iowa to pull off the victory, move on to the round of 32 for the first time in 5 years. Yes, we have to go back all the way back to 2021, the last time Iowa even won a game in the NCAA tournament. Of course, lost the last 2 seasons. Before that, it was a loss in the first round to Auburn down in Birmingham. And the year before that, 2022, the loss to Richmond in the first round that still stings, as we've had a lot of stings, certainly as Hawkeye fans. Clemson, the first key that you talk about in this game is something that's been out there since this came up. Teams that, when they hold teams to under 65 points this season, they're undefeated. It's a very simple equation. You have to score to beat this team. It is going to be a low possession game. 2 of the slowest teams in the country in terms of tempo. Iowa's going to have to be incredibly efficient on the offensive end of the floor. And as we've talked about at different times throughout the course of the year, though the numbers, you just look at raw data, you look at points per game allowed, those kind of things, they paint a very good picture for Iowa. When you look at it deeper and understand at the pace that Iowa plays at, those numbers aren't certainly at the elite level than maybe that they appear on the surface. Clemson, very similar. 333rd in the country in tempo, defensively 21st. Clemson's also trying to figure things out as they're playing now without their starting center. Carter Welling is not going to be there. 6'11", 240 pounds. He's a beast. He can step out, and knock down 3-pointers too, but a big guy. Really good rebounding rate. Defensive rebounding rate was through the roof, and that is an aspect that they're going to be losing with no Welling in there. He tore his ACL in the ACC tournament. He's not going to be in there. Now, they do have another big body. It'll be Nick Davidson that will see a majority of time in the middle, but outside of that, this is not a very big team, and that goes to one of the biggest keys. 65 points. All right, there's a benchmark. Certainly you want to hit, but the other component is on the boards. Now, Clemson's a very odd team. They are elite in defensive rebounding. They do not give up a ton on that side. They are very, very good when it comes to that aspect. But when they're on offense, they do not crash the boards very hard. And because of that, there are not a whole lot of second opportunities. Iowa can't allow that. Keep those offensive rebound down. They want to get back defensively. They want to set up their defense. Because of that, you can't allow the second chances. Those long rebounds can't go into their hands. Have to secure the rebounds when they're there because they're really not trying for them. That is not a huge component of what they do on that end of the floor. They're going to try to shoot it from the outside. About 33% of their shots come from the three-point arc. That is something that they're going to try to do. They're an okay three-point shooting team, 34% on the season. That's 169th on the country. You can't let somebody get hot. You can't let a guy beat you, somebody that hits 4 or 5 3-pointers. We talked about Nick Davidson. He is a different type of center than Welling, and he is a guy that can step out and consistently hit the three-point shot. He's got 29 of them this season. Their best three-point shooter is Justin Porter. He is hit down 62 three-pointers on the year, shooting 34% from behind the arc. But nobody elite on that end. Keep them out of that one. That is a huge component. I think us as Hawkeye fans definitely know that that is something you have to keep an eye on. The best player for this Clemson team is R.J. Godfrey. 6'7", 240 pounds. He is a guy that will get downhill. Pretty good rebounder. Can block shots. A really athletic guy. I anticipate we're probably going to see Tavian Banks on him at times, depending on what the lineup looks like. They could throw a couple of different bodies at him, but that's going to be the assignment that's going to be there, I think, for Tavian Banks early on, is he's going to get that assignment of Godfrey and need to stay out of foul trouble. But for me, yes, stopping the guys getting downhill, that has been an issue for this team. Guys off the bounce, can't let them get into the paint. That's been such an issue for this Iowa team really over the last couple months of the season. And Godfrey, a little bit concerning what he can do there. Dylan Hunter, another guy off the bounce, pretty good. Can do those kind of things and get into the rim. Still, I love this matchup for Iowa. I really do. And as we talked about in the initial grasp, I don't know if there was a better matchup that you could hope for in an 8-9 game for the Hawkeyes. Also, from a Hawkeye perspective, it's time for Bennett Stirtz to be the player we know he can be. It's time to put it all together, put this team on his back, and lead them to a victory and then get their shot against Florida. When you look at, Bennett Stirtz, there's been times where he certainly looked tired. He's coming off the injury in the Ohio State game where he got banged in the quad, and that has been an issue apparently dating back for a while, something that he's dealt with, took another one there. In fact, left the game when he was first injured against the Buckeyes. Getting him the health, the rest that he needs, certainly, and the extra day as Iowa plays on Friday as opposed to Thursday, I think definitely a good thing. You go back to a year ago in the NCAA tournament, what he did at Drake in the first round in their victory against Missouri. He was outstanding in that one. 21 points. He was 8-11 from the field in that game, including 3 of 3 from behind the arc. Tavian Banks was also really good in that game. Manyow, he did his thing inside. And these are the kind of components that you need. You need one of the two off the bench, either Tate Sage or Isaiah Howard, to be ready to go. Going to need their length and certainly their defensive versatility. I think in this game, one of those two guys needs to step up, be able to provide a little something offensively, but also be able to do it on the defensive end of the floor. And I know we say it all the time, but another huge component is obviously Alvaro Fulgaris. And after Fulgaris, the up and down inconsistent season that we've seen out of him, it is time. He played in the NCAA tournament before. For most of these guys, this is not going to be anything new. Cooper Koch is one of the guys that it's going to be new for, and what we've seen shooting from him here recently. Bennett Stirtz needs to be great. Definitely needs to have that component, but he's got to have other guys help him because we know just how limited this team is. Get over 65 points, win the rebounding battle, at least play even on that one, and don't let somebody crazy go off from the three-point line. The keys to the game for Iowa to pull off the win, and I feel good about that one. Now, Florida will be a different one, no doubt, but we'll have you covered here on Locked On Hawkeyes. We'll have a rapid reaction podcast after it goes final on Friday evening here for you, and looking forward certainly to that and seeing this team back in the tournament after missing the last couple of years. It's fun. It's important. I love having the Friday draw. A lot to be happy about, a lot to be positive about, and I think some good vibes for this program, certainly going forward in year number 1 of Ben McCollum. We look around the league, and you look at Minnesota with Nico Nedved, and you look at, obviously, Buzz, the struggles that they've had at Maryland in year number 1. You go through this league, and Iowa is the only team in the Big Ten that has a first-year coach and is going to be in the NCAA tournament. That's an accomplishment. Now let's take that next step. Get that victory against Clemson, and then we're playing with house money with number 1 Florida up next. The Hawkeyes get the victory. We continue here on the Locked On Hawkeyes podcast. Going to talk some more basketball with Tom Kakert. He'll be down in Tampa covering things for HawkeyeReport.com. We'll get his perspective on that, what he expects to see from the Iowa team. Plus, we'll talk about the women as they get ready to face off in their first matchup against Fairleigh Dickinson and potentially a second-round matchup. Who will they play? Well, there's 3 opportunities there with the way the bracket fell in a play-in game that'll be played on Thursday evening at Carver Hawkeye Arena with Arizona State and Virginia facing off. The winner of that one then will get Georgia in the first round. We continue here. Tom Kakert joins us on the other side. Stay right there. This is Locked On Hawkeyes. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Today's episode is also brought to you by Wayfair. Well, spring's the perfect time to refresh your space and make your home better for you. Whether it's updating a room, adding some outdoor furniture, or finally organizing that cluttered corner, it's a great chance to bring a fresh look into your home. That's where Wayfair comes in. From furniture and decor to organization solutions and outdoor essentials, Wayfair makes it easy to find pieces that match your style and your budget. I love shopping on Wayfair. We've used it a couple of different times, including some new outdoor furniture. Got it last year. Absolutely incredible. Helped out our deck, the space. Absolutely love it out there. And Wayfair makes it incredibly easy. How about thousands of reviews? Shopping with confidence, absolutely on Wayfair, and options like easy assembly or installation make the whole process smooth from order to setup. Whether it's a new desk for a home office, storage solutions, or outdoor pieces for spring, it's easy to find something that fits both your style and your daily routine. Find furniture, decor, and essentials that fit your unique style and budget. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's Wayfair, WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Once again here on the Locked On Hawkeyes podcast. Thanks for making Locked On Hawkeyes your first listen every day. We are your daily Iowa Hawkeye podcast. Join the Every Dare Club right now with code MARCH, and you're going to get your first month free. If you sign up before the tournament tips off on Thursday, you can compete against me in our men's and women's bracket pools on Discord. The winner in each will get $100 in Locked On merch, and the rest of us, well, we can commiserate in the members-only chats as our brackets blow up. As a member of the club, you're going to get an ad-free version of Locked On Hawkeyes. Again, a free month for the code MARCH at LockedOnHawkeyes.supercast.com. That's LockedOnHawkeyes.supercast.com. Now, let's hear from Tom Kakert.
Let me ask the question again. Are you sick of going to Tampa?
I never get sick of Tampa.
Okay.
Good place. The thing I worry about is I jokingly said to a friend of mine, I wonder if they can, if the NCAA will hire John James to run
nice
hospitality room for me. That's all I'm going to miss is John James.
Is it in the same hotel? The media put in the same hotel?
No, we're actually downtown. You know, usually we're out by the airport area,
Yep.
and this time it's downtown at a little Spring Hill Suites. So we'll be it's about a mile from the arena. So
Good stuff.
not bad.
Trent made a great point earlier, and I'm going to steal it from him just because I got you first. We were talking about, what kind of travel party will make their way down there to watch this, and I didn't have the answer, and Trent put it, I'm paraphrasing, that he's not sure because the Iowa women have really established their place in the market amongst Hawkeye basketball fans. They're at home. They play Saturday. They play Monday, assuming they get by on Saturday. And perhaps that will, change some minds as to buy a plane ticket and travel to Florida during spring break, which isn't cheap to do, or stay at home and watch the Iowa women.
Yeah, but there's a lot of Hawks fans down in that area, though. So,
Yeah.
And a lot of them that winter down there.
Yep.
And they're not back here yet. So there's, from what I understand, I think they're going to have a full complement of people. I asked Beth Getz Sunday what her plan was, and she said her plan is to go to Cleveland on Thursday, watch the men play on Friday, and then get to Iowa City for the women's game on Saturday. So that's her plan.
Must be nice.
So she's going to pull off the triple.
Really?
It's a good use of the
Heck
company
yeah.
jet,
Right.
making that one happen.
And if you got it, why not use it?
Absolutely, no doubt about it. Quickly on the women's side, we'll get into the matchup against Clemson and potentially a matchup against Florida down there in Tampa. But the women, the draw that they got, it's going to be Georgia again. We saw them a couple of years ago in that round of 32 and gave them a tussle. Caitlin had to have a shot in the final minute to stretch that thing out to a couple of possessions. Georgia,
don't tell me she made it.
She made it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did make it here. That draw, that second round game, of course, they lost her sophomore year to Creighton in the round of 32.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about that one? Even at Carver, it feels so tough. Is this just Iowa thing, or is it just in general getting to that Sweet 16 tougher than maybe you'd anticipate?
Yeah, and Caitlin talked about that before her senior year game, and just that game is tougher than maybe a Sweet 16 game in a lot of ways, because there's just so much pressure, because if you want to win that game so badly so you can get to that second weekend, right, and that other team is going to give their all to try and beat you. And yeah, that Georgia game is really scary. I suspect they're going to cruise past them in the first game, and who knows, maybe Arizona State or somebody comes in, or one of the other teams. I mean, we got the play-in games there, so maybe they come in and give Georgia fits too. So we'll see. But Georgia's ranked 24th in the country, and they're a second round game in the round of 32. So not great.
Yeah, you know what, I noticed this, and I hadn't noticed this before. When pursuant to the women's brackets, you mentioned the play-in games, whereas the men is the 11 and the 16, the women are the 10. That's what their play-in game is, 10 and 16. So a little differentiation there on their part. Tom, as far as availability, are tickets still available for the weekend at Carver? Do you know?
Boy, I think they've sold out already from what I would gather. I mean, those things sell like hotcakes every time they go on sale. So it's I'm anticipating there's going to be a full house, and it's going to be loud, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, and there's also the cool thing about the NCAA tournament is they have those and I mentioned this on the message boards the other day. They have those shoot-arounds or the little practice session things that are open to the public. So if you didn't get tickets, you can go to Carver Hawkeye Arena and watch them practice on Friday. Just, I'm not sure what time the practices are, but you can go there and put on a 45-minute practice, probably sign some autographs, and it's all free.
See all the teams that are coming through.
Yeah.
No, it's a great benefit for basketball fans in the state.
The Virginia Arizona State, which is weird, a play-in in the 10 line. Don't see that very often. Saw Arizona State against Iowa State this year. Don't know much about Virginia, but what kind of crowd are they going to get Thursday night in Carver for that one? I mean, how many people? It's one thing to watch Iowa play. It's another thing to watch Arizona State and Virginia. We talking about hundreds of people, or will there be a couple thousand in the building? There was
they had a plan for one of the Caitlin teams too, when they were one, and that's a different genre with two obscure teams versus two power conference teams. So I think there'll be a couple thousand people there. I just do. I think the fans of women's basketball will show up and watch it and want to be a part of that. So, and why not? It's an NCAA tournament game. You get to watch it, and it's probably pretty inexpensive to get in. So why not?
Absolutely. Let's talk about the men. They'll play Clemson in their first round matchup. Clemson without Carter Welling, who got hurt in the first game of the ACC tournament, tore his ACL. So he's out for sure. Not miraculously going to come onto the floor at any point. 6'10" junior. So Iowa struggled with size throughout the season. 6'10" kid is not going to be able to answer the bell. Your thoughts on the matchup?
Yeah, that is a significant development because he was the leading rebounder and a double-figure scorer, and they've only got two double-figure scorers on that team. They've got like three guys that are in the 9 range, so it's really close. But that's a big deal for them just from a rebound perspective because the first game that they played without him, obviously, it's against Duke, so Duke's really good. But Duke was without
Ngapa.
In that game, and they out rebounded them by like 14 in that game. So just by that you can tell they're not a great rebounding team to begin with. I think they were plus 1.9 this season as a whole, and got out rebounded by 14 by Duke in that game. So that is something that's probably a benefit to Iowa, because Iowa's not a great rebounding team, but that should help them. They don't have a shot blocker, which is something that's, I think, given Iowa the most fits this year, is size in the post and guys who can kind of keep you away from the rim, like an Illinois team, places like that, Purdue. So they don't have that. And Iowa's going to have the best player on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
They just are.
Yep.
Coming into the game, Bennett Stirtz is the best player that's going to be on that floor. They've got some really good players, but and Trent will appreciate this. The thing that I always fear is the random bench guy that comes in and scores 15 points and hits 5 threes.
Yes,
that's Iowa's fate in every big game.
Who have you identified the guy for Clemson you think has a shot to do that? Who's going to be the one that comes in? I look in here. I got a name for you. Ace Buckner. He's a freshman that's shooting 32% from three. He seems like he's destined for about a 5 for 7 performance from behind the arc.
Yeah.
That's probably him.
All right.
Ace.
Ace.
Yeah.
But Ace knocks down a 3. Ken's already going to be shaking his head.
Well, there's a better name. There's a better name on that team. Butta Johnson.
Butta Johnson.
Butta Johnson. I was joking with Gary Dolphin, waiting. I can't wait for you to say Butta Johnson, Gary.
Yeah. Butta Johnson Sr.
Got to be careful with that one. Tom.
Yes.
They played a slow pace. Iowa plays at a slow pace. They're without their starting center. Feels like a lot of advantages Iowa's way.
It does.
What do you point to, though, Clemson, that would give you concern? What's the thing that gives you pause here? Because I love Iowa. I think Ken likes Iowa in this spot. Most everybody, and even on a national scene, does. What does give you pause?
That everybody likes Iowa.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great point.
The public side, man.
Yep.
I looked at the percentages yesterday, and it was like, 89% of the money's on Iowa right now, and I'm like, ooh. Normally in my life, I run the other direction.
Yep.
So it's that gives me pause. The other thing that gives me pause is that's a pretty battle-tested Clemson team. A lot of those guys are junior seniors that were part of that Elite Eight team a couple of years ago, and so they've been through the wars and they've played in the NCAA tournament. So the moment's not going to be big for them. They're not going to get kind of caught up in it. Not that Iowa will, because most of those guys have been through this, playing in the NCAA tournament, at least a little bit like last year with most of the guys that came over from Drake. So I would be more worried if they hadn't experienced this. So, but with this game as low scoring and low possessions as it's going to be, you cannot have that slow start be down 21-10 because then you're really chasing uphill.
That's a great point.
You're in that hole.
Question about Brad Brownell, who was the coach way back in the day at UNC Wilmington, coaching Iowa in there with Craig Callahan, who did great things with the Seahawks. He was very close to getting the Iowa job back when Fran McCaffrey was ultimately hired. Do you remember, were those the two finalists? Was it another guy in the mix? Who else was there? Because I remember Brownell, he was at Wright State at the time.
He was prominent in the search. Yep.
And done a nice job at Clemson overall. But, kind of going back in that machine, what do you remember about that time when Fran was hired?
Yeah, I remember his name coming up quite a bit in that search, and that he was a major candidate. And I think he's originally from Indiana, Southern Indiana maybe. So there's some kind of Midwest feel to him. And but I think it worked out for both parties. But he's had a career a lot like Fran, where and just for Brownell, I mean, a couple of years ago he was on the hot seat until he had that Elite Eight run, and that probably bought him another couple of years here, and he's made the tournament last couple of years. So as long as he keeps making the tournament, I think he's good for a bit. But yeah, there were some lean years for him where he was definitely hot seat or darn near close to it.
Last thing, and this is for both of you, Trent. You probably saw this. Yeah. One of our listeners reached out via our Miller and Condon Twitter account and asked us for this prop question. The Iowa men and women will combine to win. Will they combine to win more games than the Iowa State men and women?
Ooh. I'd have to go with probably the Iowa State side.
Yeah.
But is the women one max?
What do you mean?
Well, they're not winning in the round of 32.
No. So the
one win max is all you're going to get.
Yes.
Here's another way to look at it. Are the Iowa men one max, Tom, or would you give them any shot of beating Florida?
None.
I don't think they have much of a chance to beat Florida, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just think their size is just too overwhelming.
Yeah.
And that's going to be I know some people I've talked to a couple of people who seem to think that maybe they would have, of the one seeds, that's the one you'd have the best shot against.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For
I think so.
And maybe that's true.
Yeah.
Because their guard play is suspect.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
But boy, that size just see them playing volleyball with Paul and those guys just playing volleyball with the backboard. So hopefully we'll get to see that on Sunday.
I'd be all for it. Good stuff, Tom. Travel safe. Appreciate what you do for us as always. We will. We're off Thursday, Friday, so we'll talk to you next Friday. Tom Kakert. Thank you, bud.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Good to talk to you, Tom Kakert. HawkeyeReport.com.
Thanks as always to Tom for his time as he joined us earlier today. And yes, if you heard when we were talking about the women's basketball team, officially a sellout just moments after we were talking with Tom. It is a sellout at Carver Hawkeye Arena coming up this weekend. No surprise, Hawkeye fans showing up in a big way. What about the pressure facing the women's basketball team? We'll talk about that. Plus a look at nationals in the NCAA wrestling tournament out in Cleveland. What is success for the Hawkeye wrestlers? That's next as we continue Locked On Hawkeye. The biggest stretch of the college basketball season is almost here. Buzzer beaters, bracket busters, and those unforgettable moments that everyone's talking about the next day. Being there live for something like that, that's bucket list stuff. The hard part, actually getting tickets, long queues, prices jumping around, and surprise fees at checkout. Oh, I hate that. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly simple to use. The Game Time guarantee means 100% legitimate tickets delivered on time at the best price. And here's the best part. Fees are included in the price you see. What you see is what you pay, period. The Seat View feature, an absolute game changer. You can see panoramic views from your seats before you buy. And mention it, if you're looking to go to Carver to see the women coming up this weekend, you can jump on the Game Time app, find some amazing deals right now. Maybe you're heading out to Tampa to watch the men. They got you covered. NCAA wrestling, all on the Game Time app. You can follow the Hawkeyes. No stress, no guesswork, just a smooth experience from start to finish. That's exactly what you want in the busiest part of the season. Take the guesswork out of buying college basketball tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON, LOCKED, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And it is time once again. Here we go. It is a 5-hour energy flavor draft. 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options. Confetti craze, fruity rainbow, or cotton candy. There's something for everyone. The board is set, flavors are ready, and I got my number one pick for the 5-hour energy flavor draft. Now, we've been going a little simple here recently, but you know what? Somebody has shot up to the top of the board for me. That's sour apple. I love that taste. The apple that bites back. Crisp, tangy taste, delicious tart. I love the tart. Bold, a little sweet, and a lot of sour. And how about some value picks later on? We're going traditional. I love cherry. Bold, cherry candy style flavor, sweet with a little tart. You can tell I like the tart. Classic red fruit profile, bright, punchy taste, cherry, an absolute value pick later on in the draft. 5-hour energy shots give you a boost with zero sugar. How big is that? 5-hour energy has a lot of upcoming flavor innovations also planned. And you can take a look at them and what they have coming up with 5-hour energy. Find your new favorite flavor of 5-hour energy shots. They're available online. You can find them at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. Again, 5hourenergy.com. Trent Condon back with you one final time here on the Locked On Hawkeyes podcast. Thanks for being with us and making Locked On Hawkeyes your first listen every day. We are your daily Iowa Hawkeye podcast. So 2 quick hits here. We're going to dive a little bit deeper later in the week when we have some more time on this one. And I want you to ponder this just a little bit. What is success for Iowa wrestling coming up this week at Nationals? We've talked a little bit more about what we saw in the wrestling team, the backside of the bracket, the guys in the consolation, I think showed a whole lot of fight. For me, success number 1, getting a guy to the finals. Now, Mikey Caliendo is the most realistic. He's the number 3 seed and an opportunity for him to get to the finals. But Iowa stretched 36 consecutive years having a guy in the NCAA finals. That is a record that you definitely want to keep going. Having somebody there on Saturday night, it's a rite of passage for Hawkeye wrestling fans. And what a year that is not going to end in a national championship. Maybe not even a top 3 finish at the NCAA's. Top 5 might be a more realistic goal for this Hawkeye squad this year. Maintaining that, to me, is a success. It's not the success that any of us want as Hawkeye wrestling fans, but I think that's a attainable, realistic goal. Keep that streak going. If it's not Caliendo, maybe it's Ferrari. He gets it going. Could we see Drake Ayala, after the struggles through most of the season, put it all together one final time and get back to the finals as he was a year ago? That's what I'm going to be looking at on the wrestling side. Over on the women's side, something we're going to dive into more later this week is the pressure on this team. And as we talked about earlier with Tom Kakert, there's something about that round of 32 game, that second round matchup that has just given Iowa fits. Struggled against West Virginia and the pressure that they had a few years back. We talked about the Georgia game, who they very well could see in the round of 32 again this season, a team that is athletic, physical, and definitely poses some problems for this Iowa team. Turnovers have been an issue in a couple of those games. The loss to Creighton that they had. So that's one that I'm going to be keeping an eye on this week and doing it in front of the home crowd. One thing I think will aid this squad is the home loss that they had against Minnesota. It's not just roll the ball out and we're going to win, because they rolled the ball out and they got thumped by the Gophers. Minnesota was a very good team this year. They were outstanding offensively that one, and the defense has certainly turned a corner since that game. But another one just to put in the back pocket, and we'll talk about more a little bit later on this week. We are your daily Iowa Hawkeye podcast, Locked On Hawkeyes. Thanks for being with us again today. And now, chance for you to join the Everydayer Club. Get ad-free versions of Locked On Hawkeyes. And if you join the Everyday Club now, you're going to use the promo code MARCH to get your first month free. Sign up before the NCAA tournament tips off this Thursday. You can compete against me in our men's and women's bracket pools on Discord. The winner in each of them are going to get $100 in Locked On merch. The rest of us, well, we can just sit there and talk about why our bracket went wrong in our members-only chats as the brackets blow up. And as a member of the club, again, you're going to get ad-free versions of Locked On Hawkeyes each and every day, all for free for a month with the code MARCH at lockedonhawkeyes.supercast.com, lockedonhawkeyes.supercast.com. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. We got our big preview coming up with Zach Sako of Locked On Nittany Lions. We'll preview the wrestling coming up tomorrow, plus a whole lot more on basketball as we count down the days. Friday for the men, Saturday for the women. Great time of year. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Until then, go Hawks.